Okay, so let's get started. So today we'll be starting with string handling. So if you are very clear with the array, how to create an array, how to store different values with a given array, then string handling is just a revision of array topic only. Because internally, if you see here, you are going to understand different questions. So why string class is provided when character array is already available? What we are trying to understand? So we already have a character array using which we can store. So what I am trying to say is, if you want to store a group of characters, क्या करना है हमें? We want to store group of characters. To store group of characters, we can use array of characters. Array of characters. What I am saying, if you want to store a group of characters, so how can we do that? I can do that like this: character char array equal to, I can write in brackets. So what is the pen point here? So every character you have to write in single quotes. Now let's say I want to store a string, let's say good morning. Now if you want to store good morning, you have to separate each character and enclose this inside the single quotes. But this is very painful. If you see, just to store good morning, I have to struggle a lot, right? So each character I have to separate with like this, beginning, end, like this. So this is the pen point, one of the pen point. Now let's say I want to convert this array, this character set into uppercase. So who is supposed to write the code? Now I want to convert this into uppercase or lowercase. To, let's say I want to, what are the requirements I have to store the group of characters? I can use array of characters, that's perfectly fine. But the problem is, if I use this, what happens? If we use character array to store character data, we have to what we have to do? We have to store the characters inside the single quotes. We have to store that in single quotes, which is very difficult. Which is difficult to store. For simple word only you have to write this, which is difficult to store. Then I want to convert this into uppercase, lowercase, or I want to remove some characters, or I want to replace some characters. To convert into uppercase, to lowercase, replace, or trim means removing the spaces, or I want to, let's say I want to search, I want to delete some characters, etc. Who is supposed to do this? Developer is supposed to write the code. So developer is supposed to write the code for all of these requirements. For all these requirements, developer is supposed to write code. Developer is supposed to write program. Developer is supposed to write the program, and which is, now let's say there are 100 developers, so 100 developers will write their own versions of this code. Everyone will be writing their own version of this code. So what will happen? So code will not be uniform. Code will not be uniform, and it will be difficult to maintain. So every developer is supposed to have this requirement. So everyone is writing the same code. Let's say 100 developers are there, and every developer wants this requirement. They want to store. Now storing the group of characters is a unique it is not unique something. Everyone is supposed to do that. Every day we have to store group of characters, we have to replace that. So this is something repetitive. Now every developer is going to write the code. So this will be duplication of code. So this will be duplication of the code. This will be duplication of the code, as everyone is rewriting, and the quality is not guaranteed. Quality is not guaranteed because everyone is writing their own version of code. Quality is not guaranteed. So because of all these, now what is happening? Now let's say I have created an array and I want to add new elements. I want to add new elements into that particular array. So if the array is there, if the array has a size, then we can easily add. But let's say you do not have the specified size, what will happen? There will be shortage of memory space. There will be either wastage of memory space. There will be either shortage or wastage of memory. There will be either shortage or wastage of memory, because if the array is full, you cannot add. And if you created a bigger array and you are not storing anything, then that will be a wastage of memory, right? So to avoid all these pain points, we use why to use. Now question is, why to use string handling? Why to use string handling? Answer is very simple. With string handling, we get predefined set of classes, set of methods which are ready to use, to perform manipulation on group of characters. So you can easily manipulate that. So what are the different classes we have? So we have string class, we have string builder, we have string buffer, and so on. We have string builder, string buffer classes which are present inside the java.lang package. Right, we have this. Now, okay, so because of this reason, with the help of these classes, what we can do, with the help of these classes, we can easily, convert the string or store the group of characters. We can store the group of characters easily, convert them into uppercase, lowercase, convert them to uppercase, lowercase, replace the content, replace the string, or trim, or create substring. From a given string you can create another substring also. I have a bigger string, from that you want to create a smaller string. You can search inside this, search in a given string. We have many other facilities. Not only these, we can append, we can delete the string, we can check if it starts with or ends with. Ultimately we can search whatever the way we want. So there are many other features. I have just listed few, but there are many ways using which what we can do. We can easily store group of characters. We can manipulate the group of characters. We can easily store strings. We can convert the string into uppercase, lowercase, find the length of a given string, find the length. We can search in the given string. We can append a new string. We can insert in between the string. We can delete the string. We can create a new substring out of that. There are many other facilities which we can do easily. Otherwise, developer is supposed to write the code. If string class is not there, developer is supposed to write the code. right? Okay, let's try to understand. So people will ask, define string. So what is string? So what is string? String represents group of characters enclosed inside double quotes. String is a predefined class present inside the java.lang package. String is a predefined class present inside the java.lang package. It is present inside the java.lang package. What else? What do you think? So string class provides several predefined ready to use methods to manipulate string data. Perfect. Check. Now how string? Now string is a class. String is a class, right? String is a class. Now what kind of class it is? So string is a class which implements several interfaces. So what are the interfaces it implements? It implements comparable, it implements serializable, it implements char sequence. These are the interfaces it implements. What it implements? It implements three interfaces. Comparable, serializable and char sequence. What string is? String is a group of characters enclosed inside double quotes. Then it is a class present inside the java.lang package, and what it provides? It provides several ready to use methods using which we can easily manipulate the string data. As well as this class is a concrete class which implements three interfaces. String class is a concrete class, means we can create the object of this class. Perfect.
These are only three interfaces, or
some of them? These are the only.
Oh.
These are the only. If you go to string class, the string class, if you open this, you will find this. These are the interfaces. Yes. Sorry? Okay. Now if you see here, I want to store a group of characters. Then plain answer I have is create that many number of variables. Let's say for one character, one variable, but that will take a lot of variables. So what we do, instead of doing that, we can create a array of characters. Let's say we create an array of characters. What will happen? If you want to store the characters, this is how you store the characters. Every character you have to enclose inside the single quotes. And that is not possible. As a developer, I cannot do that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, storing is fine, but other things are also not in favorable situation for us. What? For every requirement, such as if you want to convert the group of characters into lowercase, uppercase, or replace a particular character, or replace group of characters, or shift the characters, then, or you want to search any character or delete anything, for every requirement, developer is supposed to do that. So Java people find because of this reason, there is a lot of code duplication. What happened? Because of this reason, lot of every developer is need of doing this. सारे developer को ये requirement चाहिए. Every developer needs this. Yes, every developer needs this requirement. He need to work with the group of strings. तो इसलिए उन्होंने क्या किया? What they did, they created a string class where they have defined multiple methods which are working on the given array. So as a developer, I don't need to create an array now. I will create an object of string class and I will give the input to the string class, and internally he will create an array. Now the array creation, method creation, who has taken care now? String people. Java people have created, we have string class which is taking care of all of this. क्या हो रहा है अभी? Instead of you creating the array, you developing the methods, now string class is there. Along with string there are multiple other classes are there which defines multiple methods. उसका use करके आप क्या कर सकते हो? Easily you can just use the method and start storing the data. आपको खुद से array create करने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. वो आपका काम किसने easy कर दिया? Your job is now taken care by your string class, string builder class, string buffer class. ये सारा काम आपका किसने take over कर लिया? String, string builder, string buffer, ये सारा उन्होंने take over कर लिया. ठीक. अभी जो भी कोड अभी लेट से आप एरे ऑफ कैरेक्टर, ये एरे ऑफ कैरेक्टर एरे यूज करके आप करते हो तो आपको बहुत ज़्यादा कोड डुप्लीकेशन होगा और मेंटेन करना भी डिफिकल्ट होगा, क्योंकि हज़ारों इतने सारे डेवलपर्स हैं, हर एक बंदा अपना अपना वर्जन लिखेगा उस मेथड का, तो कोड यूनिफॉर्म होगा नहीं. सो इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू मेंटेन एंड इट विल बी अ डुप्लीकेशन ऑफ कोड. एवरी डेवलपर इज राइटिंग, so that is duplication of code. And in IT or any industry, it is always recommend that you do not duplicate the things. Do not duplicate the things. What happened? Just a second. So what I was telling you that if you are going with the array of characters, there is lot of code you have to write, there will be code duplication, and there is lot of issues with the code maintenance also. Because of that reason, Java people decided to develop a class. They have developed string class, string builder class, string buffer, and some other classes also. So what they did, they actually, instead of developer creating the array and storing the character array or creating the multiple methods, what they did, they created a class. Inside that they have maintained multiple methods. Internally they are creating the array. They are also doing the array creation only. Now instead of developer doing the array creation, now who is doing that? String or string buffer or string builder. They are doing that. String builder, string buffer or string class. So these are the classes. They are present inside the java.lang package. They are present inside the java.lang package. Now what these classes helps you? So these classes provide set of methods using which we can store multiple group of characters, convert them into uppercase, lowercase, replace the string, you can trim that, you can create substring, you can search in a given string also. Append means adding the string at the end also. You can delete the string, then check if it starts with or ends with string, particular given string. You can find the length also. Check. Then we have a string class. Now we were talking about the string. The string, it represents group of characters enclosed inside the double quotes, and it is also a predefined class present inside the java.lang package. Now this class provides several ready to use methods which are working on string data. And this is a class which is a concrete class which implements three interfaces: comparable, serializable and char sequence. Check. Now if you carefully see, string class internally maintains an array of characters to store the data. What is the name of that particular array? Char value. This is the char value. So they have private, final, char and value. This is how they maintain the character array. Sorry, size नहीं लिखा है. This is just a declaration. So you can write this one also. You can write there also. You can write here also. We can write here also, but it is recommended that we write beginning. Yes, it is a reference. It is a reference. And later on, they assign the value to this particular value. If you see this dot value equal to value. So what they are doing, this dot value. So they have, later on they are assigning the value in the constructor. So this is the instance variable. This is a instance variable. This is a instance variable present inside the string class. This is instance variable present inside the string class, which is actually storing the data. Tick. Now string class. Now let's talk about string class. String class is an immutable class. What do you mean by immutable class? String class is an immutable class. It is an immutable class. Why? String is a final class. Then members of string class are which members? Variables of string class are private and final. Members of string class are immutable means string class is final, so it cannot be extended. Variables of string class are private and final, and there are no setter methods available. There are no setter methods available in the string class. What do you mean by immutable class? Let's try to understand that. What is immutable class and why? Okay, that's why question we'll look into. So what is immutable class and how to create that? If a class is immutable, what happens? If a class is immutable, then we cannot. If a class is immutable, then we cannot. What we cannot? Modify the object content of the given class. Once object is created of that class, that's final. We cannot change anything inside that particular object. Right? How to create? To create immutable class, what we do? To create immutable class, make the class final, the variables private and final, and do not provide any public setters. Do not provide any public setters. Check. Okay. So you understood, right? What do you mean by immutable class? Right? What do you mean by immutable class? Once you create an object of that class, then that object is final. Then you cannot modify the content of that particular object. How do you create an immutable class? Let's see. Let's say I create a class, let's say student, and in order to make any class immutable, we first of all make this final, and I have some data, private, final, int id, let's say this is name. So what I do, I assign or I create a constructor then I do not provide setters. I will have only getters. Now I need to override. Now I told you, have you gone through the object class? So object class has some couple of methods. So that is the parent class of every other class, right? So we'll talk about that also today. So this is a final class. This is a final class. This is a immutable class. Now what do you mean immutable class? Create the object of this. Create the object of this class. New student. Then you pass the values 1 and ABC. 1 and ABC. Now try changing the value of this particular object. Can you do that? Student.id. We don't have ID because this ID is private, so we cannot access. Name also private, we cannot access. Once object is created, that's final. We cannot modify the content of this particular object. So this is something your immutable class. This is your immutable class. You cannot modify anything. So if you want to get some details, you can get that student.get ID. Once that is created, that's final. You cannot do anything with this. Student.get name. So you cannot do anything with this. That's it. So once object is created for this class, you don't have any option to modify. Tick. So then, is string class immutable? Yes. String class is a immutable class. String class is a immutable class. Remember this, string class is a immutable class. Now next follow-up question can be why string class is immutable. We will look into that also. So why string class is immutable also. Let me tell you the questions. Can we develop? So define string, we have already defined the string. What do you mean by immutable and mutable objects? Immutable objects means we cannot create the or modify the data. So what is a mutable? What is a mutable object? So we can modify. So we can modify the object content. So can we develop immutable object? Yes, we can develop. How do we develop immutable object? Just like create a class, final, do not provide public setters, make the data members private. Okay, now why do you think string objects are immutable? Why do you think string objects are immutable? Why string objects are immutable? Why? Can anyone tell me? Now see here. Now if I create an object of a string class, what will happen? There will be one object. Let's say there is a content, let's say hello. The content of this object is hello. Now S1 is pointing to this particular hello. Now what happens in string? So string is actually created to improve the memory allocation. So what happens in string? Whenever you create an object with string class, there is a memory called as SCP. So SCP, will talk about what is SCP. So SCP is part of heap. So inside the heap we have a small part called as SCP. So SCP stands for string constant pool. In this particular memory area, only string objects will be present. Now in this particular area, your string objects will be present. We'll talk about that, so what is difference. But whenever you create an object in this SCP, only unique objects will be present. What I am saying? Only unique objects will be present inside the SCP. Now there are multiple objects will be there, but all the objects will be unique. Now there may, let's say I have a student name, let's say 1 and let's say ABC, 1 and ABC. So this is the string. Now there might be another student whose name is ABC. There might be another student whose name can be ABC. Now there might be 10,000 elements. Now there are 10,000 students whose name can be ABC, whose district can be, let's say, Pune, whose state can be Maharashtra. So this is a duplicate data. So are you going to every time, now let's say I have a database or I have objects. Now there we have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the name. Let's say ABC, 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 like ABC. Now these are the objects. What are these? These are the student objects. Student 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this, I have 10,000 objects or maybe 10 CR objects. Now this value can be duplicated. Now this can be duplicated for 20,000, 50,000. Any number of times this value can be duplicated. Now this particular ABC is duplicated. Yes. Now instead of you duplicating this value, string people did it something magical. What they did? Now this ABC will be created only once inside this SCP, and all other students for this value refer to this only one stored value. All means whose value is ABC, all those students will point to only one object. What happened? ABC, now let's say there is another 5,000 students whose name is XYZ. There will be another object. Now there will be 5,000 students pointing to this object. There might be 5,000 students who are pointing to this object. Now you tell me, if I change this object content, what will happen? All the 5,000 students will have their name changed. So we do not want to change this value because there are multiple references pointing to that object, right? So I don't want to change this value. For that reason, this particular object is immutable. Why? There might be multiple students or multiple references pointing to this particular object. Now if this object containing change, then all the references who are pointing will get the changed value. So it is better to make this value immutable, right? So in one line you can tell why string objects are immutable, because string objects are immutable because there might be multiple references pointing to a particular object. If that particular object is changed, then all the references will get the change value. So to avoid that, string objects are immutable, right? Now think of this example, another example I will try to explain. Now let's say you are trying to create a voter application. Now in the voter application, we'll have ID, first name, we'll have the first name, then we'll have last name, then we'll have city, then we'll have state, then we'll have country also. Now country will be common for everyone, so I will not add country here. So let's say 1, 2, 3 like this, there are, let's say 100 CR people are there. Now every people, there might be multiple people whose name is, let's say, ABC or maybe Amol or Sachin. There might be lakhs, there will be lakhs of students whose name is Sachin. Now there might be multiple people whose city is, let's say, Pune. Now state is Maharashtra, there might be Karnataka, there might be Telangana. Now these Maharashtra state entries, let's say there are 12 CR people whose state is Maharashtra. Now are you going to store 12 CR times? Are you going to store this Maharashtra 12 CR times? No. So what will happen? This particular value will be stored only once. Karnataka will be stored only once because all these values will be part of one special memory area called as SCP. So SCP stands for string constant pool. This is the area where it will maintain unique objects. It will maintain unique objects. Now all the voters from Maharashtra will point to this single value. All the voters from Karnataka will point to this particular. All these voters from Telangana will point to this one, like this. Now there might be 10 CR or 12 CR people pointing to this object. What will happen if I change this value? All the references or all the voters, their value will be changed. Now because of that reason, this value should not be changed by anyone. Once it is created, that's it. So such values, if you want to, and this is what it is doing, it is avoiding the memory duplication. इसके साथ आप क्या कर पा रहे हो, आपको मल्टीपल टाइम्स वैल्यू स्टोर करने की जरूरत नहीं, एक ही बार स्टोर करो. Because of that, you are optimizing the memory also. So how we are able to optimize? Because this value is stored once, unique values only. And since this is unique, there might be multiple references pointing to this object, so that if the value of that object is changed, everyone will get the changed value. So to avoid this inconsistency, it is made immutable. It is made immutable. Check. Let me rough this. Okay, so why string objects are immutable? String maintains a separate memory area called as string constant pool memory area. It is part of heap only, which stores only string class objects, which are unique. So only string objects, and those are also unique. Now there might be multiple references pointing to the same string object. So to avoid inconsistency, object is made as immutable. So there might be multiple references pointing to the same object. So to avoid any data inconsistency, the object is made immutable. Check. Okay. So far so good. What is string class doing? What all things are there? Now let me tell you the string class. Let me open the string class. Now from day one we have been looking at the string class. This is the most used class. This is one of the most used class in entire Java. So everyone should know things about this. So this class is a string class. It represents group of characters. All string literals in Java programs such as ABC are implemented in instance of this class. So whatever the string we represent are object of this particular class. So let me tell you, this class is a immutable class. It is a final class which implements three interfaces. To store the data array of characters, it maintains array of character only, and it provides several other methods. If you see, these are the constructors of the string class, these are the methods, these are several methods of the string class. Now if you want to know complete list of, you can get the complete list of this particular class So this class is present in a java.lang package. So I will tell you some list of particular. So this class if you see, this class provides several methods. Now this class implement these many interfaces, and then this class provides multiple constructors. Now all of these are constructors of the particular string class. These are the constructors, these are multiple constructors they have provided. Then these are the different methods. See how many values are there, how many objects, how many methods are there. These are the number of methods. So what we have to do, we have to use these methods. Whatever the requirement you have, you can just start using this method, right? Now all of these are instance methods. There might be some static methods, there might be some instance methods also. You will have some instance methods also and some static methods also. So we have some static methods also, and you see these are some static methods. There are a lot many static methods also we have. There are some instance methods. So whatever the static methods are there, we can access with the help of class name, and whatever the non-static methods are there, we have to use object or a reference. Clear so far what string class is doing? The string class provides several methods which are useful to manipulate on the given set of characters. Okay, now let's try to understand what are the different ways to create object of a string class. So what are the different ways? There are two ways. Simply there are two ways. There are two ways to create string class object. There are two ways to create string class object. How many? There are two ways to create string class object. Now what are the two ways? One is using literal way and one is using, you already know that. What is that? Every class we have created object. What is that? Using new keyword. There are two ways. One is using new keyword. This way everyone knows. This way of creating the object everyone knows, and this is literal way. Everyone knows this way of creating object using new keyword. We can create the object. This is one of the way. Now literal way means, what is literal way? In this we assign the group of characters. We have used this string, both the ways we have used mostly first way. Till now we have used string abc equal to str equal to abc we have used. In this way we assign the group of characters enclosed in double quotes to a string variable, to a string reference. Example, so we write string str equal to greeting. So this is a string. This is how we store. In this what we do? In this we assign the group of characters enclosed in double quotes. If you see, this is the double quotes. We enclose that and we assign that directly to the reference. So this is one of the way. This is one of the way. And using new keyword, in this what we do? In this we create a object of string class using new keyword and constructor, and assign that to string reference. So I will try to explain both the ways. What is the difference? Now example wise we can do the same thing, but in this case what we do? Str equal to new, I say string, and I write this one. In literal way, we directly assign the value. This is the literal way. And in this, we create a object using new keyword and the constructor. In this, we use the new keyword and the constructor. Both are objects. Which one? This is also object. In this, we assign the group of characters includes in double quotes to a string reference. This is also object. Both are objects. What is the question? So this is object. That is. So right hand side in both the cases is object. In both the cases it is an object. Let me create that. What are the different ways to create object? I will explain that. String str1 equal to okay. Now I create another str2 and here in this case I do new and I do string, assign this into double quotes. In both the cases right hand side it is an object. In both the cases right hand side it is an object. This is a reference. Remember str1 and str2 both are reference variables. Both are reference variables. And both of these right hand side are objects. Both of them are objects. Now I will print both of them. I will print both of them str1, str2. So you will get the same output. You will get the same output. Now there are many differences between these two ways. How it is working, we will be explaining this also. So greetings of the day. In both of the case, we get the same output. So what are the different ways to create string class objects? One is using literal way and one is using new keyword way. Simple. Now we will try to understand what is the difference also.
Just one simple question, I think. The first STR1 readings of the day is stored at one particular location, right?
Yes.
STR1 address. The other one is, will it refer to the same readings of the day or it will create another object?
So we'll see the difference now.
This is what.
Yes. So we have to see the difference between these two ways. So what is the difference? Yes. So what is the difference? Difference between literal way and new keyword way of object creation for string class. So what is the difference? Let's try to understand. Okay, now you already know, everyone knows, whenever you create an object of any class using new keyword, when you create an object of any class using new keyword, str s1 equal to new string, and let's say I say ABC. Now this thing is called as object, we already know that, and this thing is called as reference, and this is the type. Okay. Now where this object is created? Any class object, where it is stored? Which memory area? Perfect. It is stored inside the heap memory area. Now this particular object will be stored inside the heap memory area. Any class, whatever the class you have, if you are creating object with the help of new keyword, then compulsorily object will be created inside the heap. You don't need to worry about anything. Whatever the class you have in entire Java, whatever the way you have, if you are using new keyword, then compulsorily object will be created inside the heap, and there is no check. Directly object will be created if you are using new keyword. Where object will be created? Inside the heap. Okay. Now this is the story for other classes. Now for string class, this is happening by default. For every other class, it is happening by default object creation in the heap. It is by default if you are using new keyword. If you are using new keyword, compulsorily object will be created inside the heap. There is no doubt in that. Now similarly, if you create object of string class using new keyword, compulsorily object will be created inside the heap. Yes? Okay. Now along with that, there is one memory area which is part of heap only. So inside the heap there is small part of memory area that is called as SCP. So you can think of this is a heap, and inside the heap you will find some part of memory that is reserved. Now this SCP stands for string constant pool memory area. What is that? String constant pool memory area. Pool memory area. Now why the name itself is string? Because this particular memory area stores only string class objects. Only string class object. Only string class objects. And what are string class objects? They will be unique. They will be unique. Simple, able to understand? We have a heap, inside that we have SCP, and SCP stands for string constant pool memory area, which stores only which class object? Only string class, not string builder, not string buffer or any other. Only string class. And how? They must be unique. They must be unique. Perfect, yahan tak clear hai? Okay. Now I will unique means their content. Content should be unique. What is the content of that object? It should be content of unique content. You can say unique content object. What you can say? Unique content object. Unique content object. Unique content object. Unique content object. Now see here. Now whenever you are going to create object with new, compulsory object will be created inside the heap. Perfect. This is S1. Let's say S1. As well as object will be created inside SCP also. Object will be created inside the SCP also. So what is the content of this particular object? We can think of ABC. So ABC will be created here also, content of the object. ABC will be also created here also. There are two objects created. How many? One in heap, one in SCP. Now I create one more object. I create one more object, string S2 equal to new string, and the content of object is again same. Okay. Now this time again compulsorily without any check object will be created inside the heap. Now this time whether object will be created inside the SCP, this time object will not be created inside the SCP because the ABC content object is already there. ABC content object is already there. ABC content object is already there. Getting the idea? Now this is the story of your new keyword. Now think of this way, string keyword, string class, if you create object using new keyword, compulsorily without any filtration, without any check, object will be created inside the heap. Now when object will be created inside the SCP, whether object will be always created inside the SCP? If the object content is already not available in the SCP, then only object will be created inside the SCP. Otherwise, no. Otherwise, simply no. Simple. Okay. Now your first, what was the first thing we have seen? If you are using literal way to create object, now I create a third object, string S3 equal to double quotes XYZ. What I created? String S3 equal to XYZ. Now S3 is a reference. Now remember, whenever you create object with the help of literal way, whenever you create object using literal way, object will not be created inside the heap. Object will not be created inside the heap. It will be created inside the SCP if and only if the object content is already not available. So in this case XYZ was not present, so it will be created. Now if I write one more line, string S4 equal to XYZ, string S4 equal to XYZ. Now whether you tell me whether object will be created? Object will not be created. Now where S4 will point? S4 will point to the already existing XYZ. S3 is also pointing to XYZ. Simple, very simple rule. If you are creating object using new keyword, where object will be created compulsory? Heap. As well as object will be created inside the SCP if the object content is already not there. If the object content is already there, then object will not be created inside the SCP. Now if you are using literal way to create object, then compulsorily object will not be created inside the heap. If it is going to be created, then it will be created inside the SCP if the object content is not already present there. If the object content is already not there, then only object will be created. Now in case of S4, object compulsory will not be created inside the heap. Then object will not be created inside the SCP also. Why? Because XYZ is already there. XYZ is already there. So object will not be created. So only this S4 will point to the already existing object XYZ. Check. Now let me write this also. And I will say using literal way, what will happen?
Only in SCP.
Using new keyword way, object will be created compulsorily where? Inside the heap, as well as in SCP also. In SCP, if the object content is not there, unique के लिए. In case of literal, object will not be created, remember, will not be created inside the heap, but in SCP, but it will be created in SCP if the object content is not there. Now tell me, in heap we can store any class object. In SCP, we can store only unique string class object. How do we create new keyword way? Example, in this case, string S1 equal to new string, and you write ABC. The same thing, how can we write there? String s1 equal to double quotes abc.
तो सर किस तरीके से बनाना चाहिए इनको?
We should use literal way. Why?
तो उसमें क्वेश्चन
क्या?
तो अगर हमने S1 ABC बनाया लिटरल वे से और S2 ABC कीवर्ड वे से बनाया.
So I will take, how you tell me how many objects will be created. Let's talk about that also. Take, so I create object string s1 equal to new string abc, s2, s3, s4, s5, xyz. How many objects will be created in this particular program? हीप में कितने बनेंगे?
2 और 3 दो बनेंगे, सारे नहीं 2 बनेंगे इसमें x1 और x2
हीप में कितने बनेंगे? हीप में कितने बनेंगे? हीप scp. So s1 will point to an object inside abc where abc also created. Yes. s2 object is compulsory created in heap also, but here no. s3, why? किसको पॉइंट करे? s3. ठीक है. s4, s5 यहाँ पर बनेगा हीप में, और ये बनेगा कहाँ पर? कितने ऑब्जेक्ट बने? 1 2 2 3 4. So 2 in heap, 2 in scp. So in this
एक लाइन 1 पे अगर स्ट्रिंग 0 बनाते हैं हम xyz
कहाँ पर?
ये सॉरी स्ट्रिंग 6 पे लीजिए स्ट्रिंग 6 इसको न्यू से बनाएंगे न्यू कीवर्ड से
6 न्यू abc.
हाँ न्यू xyz this time first it is created in scp so now
No s6 compulsorily. What will happen in this case? Compulsorily s6 what will happen?
हीप में बनेगा और यहाँ नहीं बनेगा.
यहाँ पर बनेगा पॉइंट. तो हमेशा ये जो जब भी आप न्यू कीवर्ड से क्रिएट करते हो तो जो भी रेफरेंस रहेगा वो पॉइंट करता है हीप के ऑब्जेक्ट. कौन से ऑब्जेक्ट को पॉइंट करेगा? हीप में जो ऑब्जेक्ट प्रेजेंट है उसको पॉइंट. क्रिएट नहीं ये नहीं करेगा. एससीपी में कौन रेफर करे? ये हमेशा न्यू कीवर्ड का जब भी आप यूज करते हो in this reference will always point to the object present inside the heap and not scp. In this case reference will always point to the object present inside the scp and not heap. हाँ बोलो. हाँ तो ये scp वाले वही s3 s4 s5 किसको पॉइंट करेंगे? हाँ जो लिटरल वे से क्रिएट करे वो हमेशा पॉइंट करेंगे किसे? SCP में. Clear है? In this program, how many objects will be created? 3 objects will be created inside the heap.
Maybe S1, S2 and S6.
Which one?
S1, S2 and S6.
S1, S2 and S6. 3 objects. Two. This will be 2. 2 objects will be created inside the SCP. And who is going to point them? No. S3, S3, S4, S5. S3 also, S4 also. S4 equal to ABC. S3 object will not be created inside the heap. It will be not also created in SCP because ABC content is already there. So S3 will point to the object which was ABC was already there. Getting my point? Let me explain this one more time. देखो यहाँ पर ठीक है. अभी देखो ये see here SCP. First we'll talk about the heap and SCP. ठीक है. Now we have first S1. S1 where object will be created inside the heap. Here also. And this S1 will always point to this object. Which object? ABC. Now S2 object will be created inside the heap. Yes. Here no. And this S2 will always point to the object present inside the heap. S3 object will not be created here also. It will not be created here also. And this S3 will point to the already existing object there in the SCP. Again S4 object will not be created inside the heap. Here also it will not be created because ABC is already there. So this S4 is also going to point to the ABC. S5 equal to XYZ. So S5, if you see here string S1, S2, S3, S4 and S5. So S5 we are using literal way. So compulsorily object will not be created inside the heap. It will be created inside the SCP because XYZ is not present. Now in this case you tell me. पहले compulsorily S6 will be created inside the heap, but here it will not be created. So total how many objects are there? 3 here and 2 here. Correct. ठीक. Now let's test this also. अभी मुझे बताओ S1 और S2 दोनों का रेफरेंस सेम होगा? Whether S1 का कंटेंट और रेफरेंस S2 का कंटेंट, whether it will be pointing to the same object? Why? S1 is pointing to another object, S2 is pointing to another point. So whether S1 content is equal to S2? No. So it will be false. It will return. Let me run this. False. Now be S1 and S3. I am talking about S1 and S3. I am talking about S1 and S3. Whether S1 and S3 are pointing to the same object? S1. Now S4 and S3. It will be true. Why? Both are pointing to the object present inside the SCP. It will be true. Now S5 and S6.
False.
False, false, true. See here. Now I want to check S5 and S6. Why false?
Keep and SC.
This is very trick question. They will ask you how many objects are created, where objects are created. What is the difference between literal way and new keyword way? Tick.